Well, it's been about 15 years since I've been with Krown, and you always see me wearing the shirt, but you're not always sure, at least not all of you, exactly what it is. So we thought we'd spend a little time here on Hard Drive and tell you about the process. I guarantee you're going to be impressed. And here to help me do it is my friend Freeman Young. First, we're going to talk about the process and then about some of the other things that you can get done with your car in a Krown shop.
We want to basically try to get as much of the road dirt and film off of the vehicle, get to the metal as best as we can with our product. It is a penetrant, it'll go through like dirt, but if we can get that vehicle clean and we can get it looking good when it goes out the door as well as when it comes in, we know our consumer is going to be happier. We can actually do a little better job on the vehicle. Ultimately, in our climate, we have two serious problems. One is the differential in temperature. It gets very hot, maybe through the day, cool at night. We constantly have moisture forming inside on the body panels of the vehicle. So you need a product when it's sprayed that can physically lift moisture off a metal, and then ultimately next day moisture is going to come back the next day. It also has to be able to repel moisture off of metal. I think one of the mistakes we make as consumers in Canada is we think when we see snow it's going to rust. But the reality is there's more corrosion takes place in the spring of the year. In the spring of the year, we get the greatest temperature differential, and we've got all that salt from the roads that have been put on through the winter, and it actually physically settles inside the fenders, inside the rockers, some of it even inside the doors and on the seams. So if you would actually go in, spray that vehicle at that point in time, your vehicle's going to be in better shape. What we've done that we think is kind of unique, we've built a library for virtually every vehicle that's on the road. It's on our internet site, and every shop owner as well as every sprayer can access it to find exactly where the hole needs to go. We actually provide a picture, but no more holes than what we need. It's the areas that you don't get to. It's the pillars, for example, around your windshield that allow that corrosion to develop around the windshield casing. It's the inside of the rocker panel where it actually folds and comes to the frame of the vehicle or to the shell of the vehicle. It's where it's going to corrode. So if you don't actually go into those compartments, spray them properly, you're probably not doing yourself a lot of good by having a vehicle sprayed anyways. It's probably much simpler than a lot of people think, but there's things we do under a vehicle that no other company does. For example, something as a mechanic that you'd appreciate, top of your shock towers actually have a bearing area in them that allows them to move as the vehicle goes up and down. We're the only company I know that has a rod designed to go up the top of the shock tower and actually treat that area of the vehicle and keep that bearing in good shape. Over top of a gas tank, the sending unit, which is probably going to cost you $1,000 if it goes, is sprayed. Wiring harness is sprayed underneath. All the lines for your brakes, the lines for your gas. And of course the other thing now is the sensors. They're used on brakes now, they're used in a variety of other areas like transmissions. And if one of those sensors has a little bit of a corrosion problem electrically, the whole vehicle has a problem. So we treat those areas underneath. So we do actually spend a bit of time under there, but it's time well spent. And as water comes back into contact with that, once it's been sprayed with Krown, like we were talking about inside the panel, same thing happens on the floor. Our product stays in place. And in order to do that, the chemicals that we are using basically have the ability to break the surface tension of water, which simply means it can go right underneath it. And once it lifts it off, it creates a surface that actually will repel water inside your car, and all the rocker panels, door panels, any place moisture can get to, same thing's happening, and it consistently happens over the year. Ultimately, doesn't harm the vehicle, does give you a longer life expectancy, and when we finish it with a vinyl plug that goes into the frame of the vehicle, and you actually can't even really tell it's been drilled. So if we can send it out the door looking good, they may not be able to see what we did in the rocker panel or the door. Those are enclosed areas. But they can see that at least we take care of the car and we send it out looking better than when it came in actually. And I think that's a good message to the consumer, and I think it reflects our interest in vehicles. So Aquapel's kind of an exciting product. It's really understated in the marketplace today. You don't hear a lot about it, but this product is so good. We buy it from another company. We apply it to the windshield, and what it does, several things. One, the water just beads up and runs off, but it does a little more than that. At night, it really improves your night vision in a vehicle. And the other thing is, it's so crystal clear when you're looking out through the windshield that you get a better look at things. They say it'll stop about 20% quicker only because you react quicker because of what you can see through that windshield.
Of course, you can polish this car all you want, and you're still going to end up with things like this. This is absolutely typical for a 10-year-old car. They're parking lot dents, door dings, that sort of thing. Our friend Tony McGrath at autocosmetic.com has been doing it for years, and it's a lot cheaper than you might think.
So to access the dent, we've got to move this hood liner out of the way. So we grab our little trim pliers, pop out all the little clips, just enough to ease this liner back. You can see all the brace structure under here, and our dent in this case just happens to be hidden by this brace, so we're going to have to use a special brace tool, what they call a whale tail, to slip under this brace, get into where that dent is underneath, and gently flex the tool so the corner or the edge of the tool pushes that dent out. Oh, I would say 200, sometimes 150, 200 pushes to gently bring the metal back up to the proper level and get the dent out. Our plastic nylon knockdown punch, and we use this to flatten down any little highs that you may have to make to the proper level and get the dent out.
You know, if you look in my driveway, you'll see one newer car that belongs to my wife. But everything else in there is at least 12 to 15 years old. It all has one common denominator. There's not a stitch of rust on any of it. And all of it still runs. Never done a brake job on my Ford pickup truck. They notoriously need a brake job after 6 to 8 years. Never done one on mine. And the four-door sedan looks like a lump of coal, but it runs great. And they notoriously go through things like wiring harnesses after about 200,000 kilometers. Mine's working on 325, still runs great. I put all of it down to Krown. When we come back, we're going to test an old-style Daytona wing car against a Honda Odyssey minivan. Who do you think is going to win?